I found out that traveling between worlds here tends to be a rather difficult thing to do. In fact, most of the Sims will lose everything. Their relationships, and well, everything. They lose it all. That's why I was shocked when I traveled to Pleasantview and everything was intact. I can't explain it. You'll just need to accept it as part of the story, alright? Being in Pleasantview was a nice change. It certainly wasn't as yellow-orange as Strangetown. I was kinda getting sick of the desert vibes. And it seemed like it was more alive and bustling. I guess that's what happens in a larger base game world. Honestly, I was sort of hoping to run into Agnes Crumplebottom, you know? Ever since I remembered that her sister and brother-in-law lived here, I kind of imagined a reunion between us. Somehow, she would recognize me and, I don't know, we would hug. I know that's asking a lot from her considering she hates affection, but perhaps she would just know who I was and how I end up here, wherever I am, whenever I am. It was a very comforting thing to think about during these uncertain times. As I was imagining how Agnes would aid me in my travels of getting back home, I heard a woman. She was standing outside her house looking at a tiny swimming pool with no ladder. Seeing this instantly piqued my interest. I had to know what was going on. Man, I'm pretty nosy. I approached her and said hello. She looked sort of confused for a second, and then asked me, "Why did you come back?" What was that supposed to mean? She repeated, "Why did you come back?" I was never here. She sort of laughed and said, "Oh, Judy, you're too funny." Judy? Judy? No. Like Judy Nguyen, my mom. There was an awkward silence. Clearly, she had mistaken me for this Judy person. "I guess you're not Judy," she said. I introduced myself to her, and she let me know that her name is Brandi Broke. She couldn't get over how much I looked like this detective that just visited her house not even an hour ago. The detective's name was Judy Nguyen. My heart stopped. Did she really just say Judy Nguyen? What does this mean? Is it my mother? My actual mother? How could this be? Maybe she got teleported here too. Maybe she's been here the whole time. I asked Brandi about this detective person. I didn't want to give away too much. I don't know who this sim is or what their deal is. Brandi informed me that Judy actually lives in town and that she's been doing freelance detective work here for years. And just like that, my hopes for a second reunion with my mom were gone. If this Judy Nguyen has been living here and working here for many years, then that must mean she's not my real mom. Okay, this is gonna sound insane. Am I in a different timeline? Did I time travel? What does this mean? I had to find out. I walked over to the lot where apparently Judy lives and knocked on the door. When the door opened, I couldn't believe my eyes. It was just like Bella. It was my mother, but it wasn't.
Hi, how can I help you?
Hi, are you Judy Nguyen?
Yeah, who's asking?
Okay, this is going to sound crazy, but my name is Sherwin, and I think I might be your daughter, but like, not from this reality.
Excuse me?
So here's the deal. My mom, Judy, didn't think I was lying. She completely believed me. Apparently, despite the fact that she's never experienced or dealt with anything like this, because like honestly, who has? This whole situation is not too surprising to her. I talked to her about what my real mom and I, were doing before I met Grimm and went to Strangetown. I talked to her about the mother plant and how my real mom had been in Strangerville for many, many years. Like throughout my entire life, essentially. We spoke about Strangetown and the odd residents. When I mentioned Bella Goth, her eyes lit up in an unusual way, but we didn't really go back to that topic, although I wanted to. Instead, for some reason, she asked me about my father. She had to know if he was alive.
But what about the satellite?
We talked for some time about my childhood, my missing mom, my father, and my siblings. She was sort of shocked that I had siblings. She explained that right after the birth of her daughter, her husband passed away from an extremely rare circumstance. When he was out stargazing, he was killed by a falling satellite. They didn't have any more children, just their daughter. After a while of talking, she offered to let me stay the night at their house. I agreed out of sheer curiosity about her daughter and what she was like. Her daughter, who was out at a friend's house, arrived home and started watching TV. I couldn't get over how much she looked like me, like exactly like me, pretty much to a T.
Cher, I want you to meet, a new colleague of mine. Her name is also Cheryl.
Hi there, I like your name. We have the same name.
Cher, be nice. Here, look what I got you today. A doll. I found it during work, and it reminded me of you.
Thanks, Mom. I love it. I didn't have it in me to tell Judy that she just gave a voodoo doll to her daughter. It seemed like little Cher liked it, so I didn't want to spoil the moment. She went back to watching TV with a doll nearby.
Listen, I have a bit of an issue with the case. I'd love it if I could pick your brain on it.
Absolutely. My brain is yours to pick. Skip Broke was an honest man. He yearned for romance and loved becoming a father to his sons, Dustin and Beau. He was happily married to Brandi, the daughter of Bob and Betty Newby. Despite their financial hardships, it seemed like the family was thriving until Skip's untimely death. Unbeknownst to Brandi, her eldest son Dustin actually hired Judy to dig around and find out more information about his father's death. They claim it was accidental, but how does the pool ladder get accidentally deleted? The game files do indicate that there are some things that don't really make any sense in regard to Skip Broke, so there might have been some foul play involved. Skip died by drowning. It was a suspicious pool ladder accident, Dustin said. It happened in the pool at the back of the family's house. Since the death, they haven't really replaced the pool ladder either. Oddly enough, the family didn't keep Skip's tombstone, nor did they place it elsewhere. Upon further inspection of their home, Judy noticed that despite the family not being well off, there were some expensive items within the home, like the primary room bed and pinball machine. In all honesty, it seemed like Brandi might have been involved in the pool ladder accident, maybe. We decided to call it a night at this point. I think we were all exhausted and nothing was making any sense. The next day, Judy and I thought it'd be a good idea if we visited the Brokes again. Brandi was very welcoming. She seemed friendly by nature, maybe even overly so. We asked her about herself. She enjoys grape juice and crumpling tinfoil. We also found out that she took the elixir of life at least once. And yes, before you comment and ask, it was actually Mortimer's initial temporary elixir of life. Then we asked about Skip, his death, and her current pregnancy. This was part of the story that was confusing, very confusing. Brandi was currently pregnant with, supposedly, Skip's child. However, that would not be possible. According to her memories, she gave birth to Beau after Skip died, yet her unborn baby was definitely his. It wouldn't have been possible for her to get pregnant when she was already pregnant. Maybe Skip impregnated her post-mortem. I've heard of weirder things, but still, that would be a little strange. That wouldn't add up to the family photo album. There's a picture, clear as day, that Brandi gave birth to Beau, with both Dustin and Skip present for the birth. As we talked about Brandi's memories and looked at the photos, we noticed something was off. There were two different Skip Brokes, one with blue eyes who grew up in Riverview with his parents Flo and Flat, then the one that we know of with green eyes. They both wore the same jeans and similar black and white t-shirts. The blue-eyed one had thicker eyebrows, while the green-eyed one had a narrow face and a different nose. The two Skips also had different voice actors. Through genealogy, we can conclude that the blue-eyed one was the true father of Dustin and Beau. However, they weren't connected through the family tree. Brandi met the green-eyed Skip before marrying the blue-eyed one. Brandi couldn't explain any of this. There was no explanation for this discovery that we found, and it was bugging the heck out of me. It didn't make any sense. She swore up and down that she's only ever known one Skip Broke, her beloved husband, and the father to her 3 children. So, Judy, what are you gonna say to Dustin?
The truth, and that I won't be charging him.
That night, I couldn't stop tossing and turning. All I could ever dream about was Skip broke, Brandi broke, and the other Skip, the clone.
It's not about having the right opportunities.
It's about handling the opportunities right. At Virus Incorporated, we have the right teleportation method for you. Our method is also proven to increase storytelling opportunities for your household by 25%. Buy now, and we'll even throw in a new kit for free. Yes, you heard that right. A new kit for free if you buy now.